there. Today I am basically signing my own death warrant because we are ranking every single mainline Final Fantasy game from best to worst based on their Chocobo music. You're ranking Final Fantasy games based on Chocobo music? It's a really important part, okay? I'm very passionate about the Chocobo music in these games. So without further ado, let's get right in. This right here is our tier list. S all the way down to D, each Final Fantasy, and we're ranking them solely on what their Chocobo music sounds like. So the first ever game to have Chocobos in it and have Chocobo music was Final Fantasy II. Now, Final Fantasy II's Chocobo music was just the same beat over and over and over again. It never ended. There was no climax. It just kept going and going and going. Its PSP counterpart did nothing to improve it, just over and over, over and over, over and over. It was quite maddening. So honestly, based on the fact I know it was the first one, and you've got to think it did create the classic do 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 that would go on through every single game after that. But that's all it was. It was just the do 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 over and over and over again. So Final Fantasy II, for being the first, I'm gonna give it a C, but it is far from the best. Let's skip ahead, shall we, to Final Fantasy III's. It took what 2 had already done and just improved on it. Do 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 do. It was the first one to bring that into play, which was great. Do 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 do. So yeah, 3 became what we know and love about the Chocobo music now. It improved on everything that 2 had done before it. So I think we're gonna give 3 the B. We're gonna give it a big old B rank right there. And then we go into one of my favorite games from the 2D era of Final Fantasy. That's how I like to think of Final Fantasies. You have your eras. You've got your 2D era, your 3D era, then your PS2 era, your PS3 era, which was just 13, and the PS4 era. Now, there's been a few versions of 4 due to its very, very many ports. And we'll start off by looking at the SNES version. It was catchy as all hell. It was jingly. It was happy. It took what 3 had done. It took what 2 had done. It improved heavily on it. It improved it so much. How can you not just want to, have a little swing and dance to it? This was the original SNES version. Now, this is the Game Boy Advance version. If it was basing it on this, I'd probably put it as a B with 3 or maybe even a C. I prefer the original SNES version to the GBA version. But the DS version, it brings it right back round. So overall, I think we need to give the FF4 version an A. It is the first one that was truly a banger. C was it is only at C because it was the first. If it wasn't the first, it'd be at D because it's absolutely awful. B took everything. 3 took everything that 2 did before it and improved on it. But then 4 took all of that and absolutely mastered it and made a banger of a Chocobo song, let me tell you. But we're going to be heading on to Final Fantasy V next. And Final Fantasy V is a special one because the Chocobo Boko is just as much as the main character as like Bartz or Faris or Galuf. The Chocobo is a main character in that game. So it not only is it the Chocobo's theme music, it's Boko's theme music. I mean, I put it on par with 4. It's good. It's not S ranked levels of good though, is it? It basically it took what 4 had done and just dialed it back a little bit. Not so bad that it was bad, but it just dialed it back a little bit. Although the GBA version actually sounds like there was this flash animation a long time ago, and I just realised that the intro to that flash animation, that's the GBA version right there. Final Fantasy is an RPG though. I'm sorry, but if you want to see any more of that animation, you need to see a video that's coming out relatively soon. Back onto the subject and the placement for 5. Like I said, it took what 4 had done, it dialed it back just a tiny little bit, but I put it on par with 4. Am I going to rank anything at a B or a C again though? Is anything going to get a D? Well, that remains to be seen, doesn't it? And right now we have to go on to Final Fantasy VI. Hey Carl, what are your opinions on Final Fantasy VI? I'm going to keep those opinions to myself, Carl. No, I kid. I like 6, just not as much as other people like 6. But the Chocobo music, Techno de Chocobo I believe it was called, freaking phenomenal. So do you know where I am going to put 6 in terms of Chocobo music? So the only time you ever see me give 6 and rank this high, it gets an S. It gets an S for Techno Chocobo. Techno Chocobo is awesome. But of course, that ends the 3D era of Final Fantasy as we head on to the PS1 era of Final Fantasy. So we now have 7, 8 and 9 Chocobo themes coming. Are you all ready for this? Where am I going to put 7? That is the question. I've always liked it because it's just very surfery. It just makes me kind of want to go like... Right, I want you guys to just take a minute and take a guess at where I'm going to put this one. 7 gets an S ranking. 7 gets put right up there at the S ranking. And now we're on to one of my favourite games, a game I have tattooed on my body, Final Fantasy VIII. If we was going by ranking by story, it'd be quite high. But where does it go with its Chocobo music? That is the question. One thing I've always liked about this is it sounds like it's being played by like a hillbilly band. Like some guys out in Cornwall drinking some cider, playing this Chocobo music. I've got to do it, guys. I've got to do it. So this one gets an S ranking too. Okay, I just really like it. 6, 7, 8. I feel like if 9 gets an S ranking, it looks like I'm just throwing all the PS1 era up on S rank. But you know, the PS1 era of Final Fantasy is some of the best, and it's some of Nobuo Uematsu's best work. Anyway, on to Final Fantasy 9. Ukulele the Chocobo is what it's called. I don't know, kind of always gave me Christmas vibes. It's nice, it's chill, it's a good track in its own right. Do I feel awesome when I ride a Chocobo and this is playing? Not really. It's a nice little song. It's not a nice Chocobo song. It gets a B. It gets a B from me, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, 9. In everything else, you exceed at, but Chocobo music, you do not. That puts us at the end of the PS1 era, and we move on to the PS2 with another one of my favorite games, Final Fantasy X. It was playing Final Fantasy X that started me off listening to FF soundtracks and stuff, as people would just listen to normal music casually instead of listening to the charts. At the age of 11, 12, I had an MP3 player with the FF10 soundtrack illegally downloaded onto it. It was the early 2000s, guys. The internet was a different place. But 10's Chocobo music, while I do have a really big nostalgic vibe listening to this, I don't rate the Chocobo music compared to others at all. It doesn't have much of what makes Chocobo music Chocobo music. Oh, a lot of trumpets. A lot of trumpets. So this is actually quite painful for me, because like I've just said, Final Fantasy X is one of my favorites, but in terms of its Chocobo music, it gets a D. Actually, no, I think we may have judged 10 too harshly. I'm going to give it a C, because there is a Chocobo music that is 100 times worse than that, and it is from 10-2. You ready? It's slow. It tries to be like this edgy kind of hip-hop type thing. No, I don't like it. There's a place where I could just bury that and forget about it forever, I would. Unfortunately, there isn't. So Final Fantasy X-2's Chocobo. I guess I could listen to 11's and we can judge it, but I never played 11, so I don't have much nostalgic feelings towards it. It sounds very beachy, like beach Chocobo music. Like if a Chocobo was born in Hawaii, this is what I imagine it would sound like. Okay, 11, I'm going to put you down at... You can have a C. I kind of like you, but I'm not sure at the same time. And now we're on to my all-time favourite Final Fantasy, obviously. We're on to 12. does all of 12's music just sound naff? Like, there's no other word for it. It just sounds naff. There is nothing remotely good about this. It's the normal Chocobo music with some weird effects thrown in. 12, mate. Get out. You get to D rank. And that's it. We've left the PS2 era. We're on to the PS3 era, which is literally just the 13 games. So the first 13. I don't rate this in the slightest. I forgot what 13 sounded like till just now. It doesn't even have any classic Chocobo vibes to it. 13 gets a D. Now, was it 13-2 that had the heavy metal one? This doesn't ring a bell either. You know, in some ways 13 does have some good music, but in other ways it just fails epically. What was the one? I'm just going to have to do a quick search. Now if we're going to go, like, 13-2 had several Chocobo theme songs, but this one... Right, I'm going to give 13, I'm going to put it at C, because Crazy Chocobo just saves it because of how bloody ridiculous it is. We're on to 14, guys. We're on to 14. That first time, you hop on your mount, and you go flying across the East Shroud to the Southlands to do your quest there. There is no better feeling. And the FF14 Chocobo music, it just reminds me of those early levels grinding, because this was the only mount that I would use. Because back when I played, you couldn't have the Chocobo companion summoned and use any other mount. You had to use the Chocobo mount if you had the Chocobo companion summoned. So my Chocobo mount was literally the only mount I used for a good amount of time. So this one gets the best for me. It gets an S. And now we're on to the final one of the main series. You will notice that there are a few missing at the bottom here that we've not done yet. That's because they're from games that I've not played. The After Years and Lightning Returns, Revenant Wings, and obviously one didn't have Chocobos. But let's give the 15 one a listen to. You know what? 15 definitely brought a lot of stuff back in it. It did. And their Chocobo music is phenomenal. So 15 gets an A from me. I love the Chocobo music. It sounds like, again, it sounds quite farmy, which is what I liked about 8. I like the violins playing in the background, or is that cello? People that know music, let me know. But yeah, the 15 Chocobo music is... Mwah. So that is it, right? We have 6, 7, 8 and 14 at S rank, as it should be. We have 4, 5 and 15 at A rank, as it should be. 3 and 9, this is where it starts letting the side down a bit. 2, 10, 11, and 13 2 at C. And right down bottom of the barrel at D, we have 2, 12, and 13. And then we've got the few that we didn't look at. I imagine if the other Chocobo ones are anything to go by, you know what? Bonus round, really quickly. I'm going to listen to a little bit of each one, and we'll see where it's going. So, it sounds like elevator music. It sounds like I'm in an elevator that is playing Chocobo music. And I kind of like that. So I give it a C. I don't think it's great. Revenant Wings does not have a Chocobo music of which I can find. So it gets the D. And FF4, the After Year. Can't find anything for After Years either. It must just use the FF4 theme. So I'll give it a D for unoriginal. And there we have it, guys. Your definitive list of Chocobo theme songs. No other list matters. This is the definitive one. I'm an expert on the subject, so take my word for it. Yeah, this is the definitive list. Again, I hope you enjoyed the content, and I'll be back soon with another tier list. What's it going to be? Is it going to be something as weird and random as this? Probably. I'll catch you guys next time. Still haven't thought of a catchphrase, so